Good morning. It seems to me that if we are to determine how to best share our prosperity, we must first understand where enough and abundance begins. As I thought about my life's interaction with the concept of enough, 3 episodes replayed in share those brief stories with you today in the hopes of sparking your own memories and thoughts. I was born to teenage parents the day after their wedding. Now, that's a close call, don't you think? Actually, I was born on the honeymoon in Brainerd, Minnesota. So I've been married once, but been on 2 honeymoons already. When I was 12, my father was in a car accident that broke his neck. His body mended, but he was never really the same after that. My mother then needed to support the family, a tremendous task for a young woman with only a high school education, an incapacitated husband, a chronically ill and developmentally disabled son, and 2 daughters. Materially, we were pretty poor. We received free food from our church, way too many frozen chicken patties. To this day, I avoid chicken sandwiches. One night, I caught my parents mixing dried milk. They had discovered that if they made it without our knowledge, put it into the regular milk jugs that you buy at the store, and got it really cold, we couldn't tell the difference. You have to admire that kind of ingenuity in parenthood. We didn't have a reliable car. The hours I've spent waiting alongside the road for someone to come pick us up. We didn't travel on vacation or go to amusement parks or even movies. We didn't eat at restaurants. But we did have a roof over our heads, food in our bellies, and clothes on our back. Somehow, my mother always managed to find the money for my sister and me to participate in volleyball and softball, basketball, band. And you know what? We were happy. And not just us oblivious kids, my parents also. Our evenings were filled with laughter, playing Trivial Pursuit or Uno, which was a game my brother could follow. We didn't have a lot, but we had enough. We had what was needed, no more, no less. My husband Brian and I put ourselves through college and enjoyed early success in our careers. For the first 15 years of our marriage, we had 2 generous incomes and no children. Do you guys remember that term DINKS, D-I-N-K-S, dual income, no kids? We were a poster couple for that. And what did we do? We lived it up. We bought new cars, we bought bigger houses, we picked up expensive hobbies like golfing and boating, we went on extravagant vacations, golfing in Ireland, Caribbean cruises, resorts in Jamaica, Bahamas, point. We had a lot of fun. But we shared very little of all that we had. As our ability to acquire, to get, to have, to possess grew, so did our desire to get, to have, to possess. Slowly, without our awareness, money came to represent security and self-worth. No longer was it a tool invented by man to facilitate exchange and sharing. Our accumulation of it, of money, became part of our own understanding of who we were. Our purpose was to accumulate more of it because you can never have enough security or self-worth. In hindsight, we had so much more than enough. Yet despite having all these worldly pleasures, we weren't happy. There was an ache, an emptiness, a longing, a question. Is this all there is? Work hard, earn money, consume, which when you think about it is a really ugly word, consume. We wrestled with that question for a year and then embarked upon the greatest adventure of our lives. We adopted a sibling group of 3 children from Siberia. Now, I can read your minds. You're saying, have they lost their minds? Did they try wading into the pool rather than diving in head first into unknown depths? Well, not really. Our children spent a year in a Russian orphanage that housed 500 children, babies to 16-year-olds. They ate one meal a day, usually some type of porridge or stew. They had no fresh vegetables or fresh fruit. They had no clothing of their own. Their shoes didn't fit. They had no toys. They had no books. They had no parents. They had no friends. First time I met my daughter, I asked her the names of her friends, and she said she would like to have friends. Broke my heart. Our 7-year-old daughter was the size of a 4-year-old. Our eldest son, who was 2 at the time, was filled with fear and its ugly twin, rage. Our youngest was 18 months, weighed just 18 pounds, and was yet unable to walk because he was lazy, according to the orphanage doctor. Our first morning together in a hotel in Kemerovo, we made oatmeal for breakfast. And as we fed the boys, they strained their mouths open as wide as possible as their entire bodies trembled with the anticipation of food. It was a moment of profound grief for me. Our children had nothing. They were so far below the measurement of enough that it was hard for me to even comprehend it. Our initial plan was for Brian, my husband, to be a stay-at-home dad for 1 year. Imagine giving up a corporate career to change thousands of diapers, handle temper tantrums like you have never seen, with kids who don't speak a word of English. It's a bit of a challenge. 1 year passed, and we decided he was needed for another, and then another, and another, and 7 years later, he is still committing to the care of our children. The miracle of our adoption was just how quickly our children allowed us to love them, despite all of their hurts and betrayals. Love is a choice. Our personal path, and ours is certainly not unique, has swerved from enough, the way we both grew up, to having far more than enough during our first 15 years of marriage, to seeing the utter lack of enough with our children in Russia. So what is enough? Is it right to apply a subjective, personal definition? Should it be based upon my personal satisfaction? Or is there an objective, ethical, perhaps even moral description of enough? It seems I have more questions than answers these days. The question of what is enough has evolved, gone past the spiritual, material realm into more of a spiritual question. Am I enough? Children who've been traumatized physically and emotionally through early deprivation, abuse, and betrayal have struggles which I can only empathize with. When I look deeply into the vastness of my children's needs, I am fearful. Am I enough? Enough of a mother? Enough of a teacher? Can I be patient enough? Can I love them enough to heal their wounds? I'd love to stand here and tell you that the answer to that question is an emphatic, of course. In truth, the answer is maybe. What I can tell you with confidence is that they will have all of what I am, and maybe it will be enough. By comparison, the material side of enough, our money and possessions, becomes a simple matter. We place our treasure where we want our hearts to be. My husband and I want our hearts to be with the orphans around the world. As a result, we support SOS Children's Villages. We want our hearts to be with this community here at Trinity. Our annual giving plan ensures its continued operation. And we want our hearts to be with Trinity as it will be in the future. Supporting Opening Doors helps Trinity begin to write its next chapter. And so each day, I ask God for guidance to lead me from unreal to real, from the temporary failures and successes of this external world to internal strength and deep, abiding love. to lead me from darkness to light, from doubt and worry to faith and action, and to lead me from mortality to immortality, from materialism and separateness to generosity and unity. When I think of ever-expanding love, faith, mindful action, and sharing, I think of Trinity. There is an energy to this place, to this congregation. For me, it is palpable. And I want to thank each of you in this community of brothers and sisters for your spiritual friendship, because I know that together we are enough. Thank you.